This is an absolute robbery, as there has been a ton of discussions surrounding multiple teams with their restricted free agents, and the Chicago Bulls are one of them, while also having multiple players on the team who are going to be moved before the end of this season, or they're going to just leave the Bulls flat out. And now the Bulls have an easy way where they get a ton more assets, and this is absolutely perfect for the team. And we're going to jump right in, discuss the trade, discuss how the Chicago Bulls become serious winners here and get to do exactly what has to be done for this team going forwards, and so much more, including the implications that this has on Josh Giddey, as this does involve a restricted free agent as well. So obviously Giddey would play into this also, and we're going to break all that down. But guys, before we do that, if you're part of that 73% that's not subscribed to Bulls Digest, make sure to subscribe for daily Chicago Bulls updates. We got a lot of great videos coming at you every single day that you do not want to miss out on. Now that it's September, there's going to be a lot more Bulls news coming out, especially with the Giddey watch still happening. But let's jump into it. Let's talk about this update, because look, as we know, this has been a very weird free agency for the Chicago Bulls. They haven't really made many moves at all outside of a few re-signings, and then obviously trading Lonzo Ball for Isaac Okoro in a move that was widely regarded as kind of strange and felt like it was just an absolute whiff on what the Bulls could have gotten for Lonzo Ball earlier. We know Arturas Karnisovas has done this in the past as well. We've seen it now with Zach Lavine, where there was times where there could have been actual stuff gotten for him. However, the Bulls held on too long, and then they didn't get much for him. That happened with Lonzo Ball as well. This is not new that we're seeing the Bulls do this. And the fear is that the Bulls would keep doing this with multiple players on their team. Now, obviously, the Josh Giddey situation is a little bit different because they have to get that contract done. But also, you look at a guy like a Coby White. White has no way to re-sign with the Bulls because he can only sign for 4 years, $89 million. He's going to get a better offer than that elsewhere in free agency next year when 10 teams have cap space. So to hold on to Coby White makes absolutely no sense for the Bulls, considering they could get a lot for him and knowing that they're not going to be able to re-sign him anyway. So they might as well move on from him so another team can get a better chance at trying to retain him after acquiring him in a trade. So it's one of these situations where the Bulls absolutely have to understand it's time to cut the cord. I've talked about this a lot already, and there has been a lot of discussions surrounding trades, and now there's one that is an absolute robbery for the Chicago Bulls, as in this deal, the Golden State Warriors would receive Coby White and Ayo Dosunmu, while the Sacramento Kings would get Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, and the Bulls would be acquiring Malik Monk, a 2028 first-round pick from the Sacramento Kings, a 2030 first-round pick from the Golden State Warriors, and a 2031 second-round pick from the Sacramento Kings as well. This deal is an absolute robbery for the Chicago Bulls, as they give up Coby White and Ayo Dosunmu and get back 2 first-round picks that right now we're expecting to be pretty damn good picks. The Sacramento Kings are in an absolute dumpster fire right now. They have half of the Bulls lineup, and when you just look at that team as a whole right now, they don't have a clear direction. They just hired a new GM in Scott Perry before the offseason, who's done nothing but kind of keep things go stagnant right now, and then signed Dennis Schroeder. It's just unclear what exactly the Sacramento Kings are doing right now. Like, they have a lineup of Dennis Schroeder, Zach Lavine, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, and Domantas Sabonis. First of all, that team has about as much defense as my rec basketball league team does. And on top of that, when you just look at that roster, is it really going to make noise in the Western Conference? Barring something shocking, absolutely not. So with all that in mind, it's really one of these situations where I'm happy to bet on the Sacramento Kings falling apart in 2028. And by 2030, Steph Curry is likely going to be retired. So the Warriors will have to be going through a rebuild right now. But while Steph Curry's still out there, still being Steph Curry, it's really not going to be surprising at all if we see them just continue to try to retool this roster. They don't rebuild, they reload as long as Steph Curry's there. Obviously, it's far from what it once was with that team. I mean, Klay Thompson's gone, Kevin Durant's long gone, and now Steph Curry and Draymond Green are still there with this ragtag group that obviously has Jimmy Butler, and they continue to try to reload. They bring in Coby White, get a sixth man because they're not going to start him next to Steph, and he becomes the best sixth man in the league. Or you do start him next to Steph, say screw it, and you just have the best or one of the best scoring backcourts in basketball. On top of that, you get Dosunmu, who would be an excellent piece for you as well going forward as a nice young player. To give up Jonathan Kuminga, someone who the Warriors and Kuminga are headed for some sort of split at some point. Meanwhile, Moses Moody is just someone who they would hurt to lose, but at the same time, for Coby White and Dosunmu, you move on. And they also would give up that first round pick. This is a trade that is a super good deal for the Chicago Bulls for so many reasons. I mean, yeah, you lose Kobe White, who after the All-Star break put up 24.5 points per game since that break began. He also shot well in that span, shooting 37% from three and 49% from the field. That hurts, but it also gives more room for Josh Giddey to continue to cook, being the lead ball handler. And when Josh Giddey was the lead ball handler, he put up 21 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists, shooting 50% from the field and 46% from three. So you let Josh Giddey continue to cook, get more offensive opportunities to score as well, while also getting a guy, Malik Monk, who we can dime up for assists. Now, just when we think about this whole situation that we have going on right now, when we look at everything, it was mentioned by Eddie Beitar that for Chicago, this trade represents a necessary shift towards the future. By moving on from Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu, two players who now have real value, the Bulls can acquire long-term assets that better align with their rebuilding timeline. In return, they secure draft capital that provides flexibility for a roster reset. The Bulls' current core has proven incapable of breaking through the Eastern Conference, and holding on to mid-tier veterans only delays the inevitable, which is absolutely correct. And following that up, Beitar mentioned that by cashing in on White after his breakout and selling high in Dosunmu's rising value, Chicago can avoid being stuck in the middle and embrace the rebuild. Malik Monk, who put up 17 points and 5 assists per game, is a player the Bulls could potentially trade for additional assets, so he isn't the worst piece to bring back. Draft picks and future assets give the currency to either build through the draft or package for a star when the time is right. This move also sends a message to the fan base. The Bulls are finally committing to a real rebuild. It opens the door for further moves, including potential trades involving Nikola Vucevic. Now, obviously, losing Kobe White would hurt, but also when you lose Dosunmu, you do lose a guy whose value is rising. The now 25-year-old put up 12 points per game last year, 3.5 assists and 3.5 rebounds and 4.5 assists. He got a steal per game as a solid defender, shot 49% from the field, has struggled from three, but is a nice guard to use in a lot of situations, and is someone who honestly would fit really well with the Golden State Warriors. The Bulls also bring Malik Monk back in the situation, who put up 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 5.5 assists a night. Shot 32% from three, which was down on his season a lot, or on his career a lot, but he did shoot 44% on the corner three. He would be a nice scorer for the Bulls as well, so Josh Giddey would still have someone to pass to, still get those assists to, and that would be huge as well going forwards for the team to bring in a guy like Monk, who's obviously not going to be a long-term guy with the Bulls. You continue to use him, watch his value inflate because you're going to have him score the ball a lot because he'd be replacing Kobe White in that starting lineup. So then you have Giddey and Monk in the backcourt, and Malik Monk will be that guy getting a lot of Josh Giddey's passes because, I mean, when you look at it outside of Buzelis, and then Okoro is probably the small forward there, outside of, I mean, it's really like, obviously you want Buzelis to shoot a lot more this season, but at the same time, what we'd also see is Malik Monk start taking a lot of shots, getting a good situation to be moved to a contender and get more draft capital out of it. And as mentioned by Beitar, the Bulls finally would be committing to the rebuild that we all know they absolutely do need to commit to going forwards. So guys, obviously it would hurt to lose Kobe White, but this is a great trade for the team. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. I'll catch you later.